Oh, it hurts so bad.
The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip, and CJ's mic is not working again.
CJ's mic is working just fine.
Okay, well, now that you've turned it on, live television. All right, another episode. Wednesdays are always good, especially following the city council meeting. So I know
the truth.
I know that CJ's got a lot to say about the council meeting. So I'm going to let him go off right now.
Well, I find it amazing that the city council president will call everyone else into question on their behavior, but absolutely refuses to do the same to any of the city councilors or the audience in the room. If any other people had clapped or made any comments that were made by some of the citizens input time people, he would have, cleared the room, quieted everyone down. Because then again, Pat Casey's already said it, we don't have the right to speak. But a comment was made yesterday during input time about renewing Chief Racine's contract. And a comment came from the city council benches, and then the audience stood up and applauded ad infinitum. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. And Joe Camara, in no way, shape, or form, decided to quiet the chamber. I mean, so again, we have one rule for the rich and the poor, but only the poor get suckered into it. They're the ones that have to abide by it. I find it absolutely amazing. As for Chief Racine's contract, I like Chief Racine. I think he's, a reputable gentleman. But with the potential of a new mayor coming in and the city council saddling him with people from the previous administration, I think, again, the Fabulous Nine were fabulous idiots. But, they could have put this off for a couple of weeks and said, hey, we'll look at this later and see what, the new mayor may want. I don't know. I mean, I'm a nobody, so I have no idea.
Well, I guess we have to remember who was clapping, right? I guess they were responding to a positive comment. Is that correct?
Well, I believe so, but nonetheless, it was,
Well, no, CJ, I have to disagree a little bit with that because, the chamber had a lot of police officers in there.
Yes, it did.
And justifiably, they're there to support their chief. So apparently they were happy with the way, and as I said, we've met with Chief Racine on a few occasions. I think he's a highly professional guy. I said he's always been and obviously I don't know that much about police work. That's not my area, but I think he is a professional. He's been on a job a long time. His men seem to like him, and so of course police officers got up and started clapping, and I guess the council president doesn't want any tickets. We don't want to have a Cranston here on our hands. We don't want to have him ticketed every 2 days. Yeah, but you're right. But I understand their support. There have been many times where, I went before the council and I had members of the firefighters union there, and in a show of support or retirees, depending on what issue I was talking about. Now, more recently, the retirees a while back. It's always, you always bring some people there, to show that you have some people that it's not only you that's voicing that opinion, and it affects other people. But the problem is that you can't have a double standard. That's the issue here.
Well, Chip, that's my problem here, because everyone else is held to a standard. everyone else is held to, no outbursts, no signs, 3 minutes exactly, your time is up, your time is up, your time is up. But you get people like Rob Mellion who come in, they waive the rules, they allow him to spew for hours, and the Fabulous Nine again increase the taxes to the residents, and the heck with it, because the residents don't matter because we can't affect business.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
I did because I'm aggravated about it.
You had to mention the Messiah.
Oh, well,
Because you know how I feel about this whole thing. Yeah, you did. No, but, that's to get back to, that it is. We have a double standard, and that's wrong. My position is if you're going to be allowed to get up and clap and do whatever, whether the council president likes the reason for the like or dislikes it is irrelevant. You either allow it or don't allow it. It's just like the rules, the rules against sexual harassment. It's a very slippery slope. So what they did was say this is not allowed, because if you allow it, in some cases not, where do you draw the line? And the line becomes blurred. And so you have to have a definitive line. The same thing goes with this. You're either going to allow people to get up and applaud when they support something someone said, regardless of the fact that you agree or disagree. We can't have a situation where when they're on your side, you let them behave one way, and when they're saying something you dislike, they are held to a different standard. That is wrong. I totally disagree with this, and when it comes to Mr. Mellion and his consistent special treatment, all he has to do is walk in the chamber, and it's like Moses parting the Red Sea. They immediately waive the rules. He doesn't live in Fall River. Let's listen to what the Oracle at Delphi has to say about our businesses. And it's the same baloney over and over and over again. Let's reduce the taxes on the business. Let's market the businesses. And here we are. Look at the result of this. We're the second highest unemployment rate in the state. We have the second highest percentage of people living below the poverty level. We have the second lowest household income. Rob, I don't know what business school you went to, and I think you're a lawyer too, which makes the double whammy, in my opinion, but you still haven't figured out what a couple of big economists figured out, and you don't have to be a big economist, that businesses do not thrive when people have no money, because you can't sell anything to somebody with no money. We don't have the barter system. You can't go in there and give them old clothes and soda cans. You actually have to support business with money. And when you have a community that's economically depressed, raising taxes for the residents and lowering the taxes for businesses doesn't do any good, because you're taking more money out of the people who have virtually no money now. So you'd think it's coincidental that places like Newton, that has 2,000 less people than we do, has 10,000 more businesses than we do. It's not coincidental. The average household income in Fall River is $34,000. The average household income in Newton is over $100,000. So if you're a businessman, where would you locate a business? In a place where people have discretionary income up the wazoo? Or are you going to come down here where they're going to try to pay for everything with a swipey card?
Chip, you're right. And we have to remember, Rob Mellion does represent a special interest group, and that is the Chamber of Commerce and its members. But to turn around again, and now remember, this wasn't one counselor. This was 9 city councilors who all voted to raise the taxes on the residents and decrease the taxes on the business. So now you, the resident who owns property, now have to pay more taxes because every one of those 9 said, yep, we need more taxes from you because we can't get generated from the businesses because we're going to send them away, which kind of leads me to my next subject. But here's the thing. The businesses don't need help on running away because they're already doing it. Nobody has any income. But let's go into talking about some of the TIF. The TIF, right here, the TIF. Something that many people in Fall River don't know, and I've been researching this TIF over and over and over again, and previous TIFs given by the Office of Economic Destruction. So it makes me laugh. First and foremost, I have been in conversation, as many viewers know, and as many viewers want to shoot me for, I have been talking to Amazon, more specifically Mike Grello. And I asked him the question that nobody else wanted to hear. I asked him very clearly, is it Amazon's intent, this is how I worded it, to buy the land in the biopark? Or do they intend to lease the land from a purchaser in the biopark? And he notified me that it is common practice for Amazon to lease the building, not the land, from a local developer. And a local developer has not been chosen for the Fall River site as of yet because they haven't decided that they're coming here. So there's our first thing about the ifs. Secondly, I read the TIF. And right at the first paragraph, it goes, this tax increment financing agreement, this TIF agreement, is made by and between the City of Fall River and Amazon.com.DEDE.LLC, the company, as of this date. Now, here's the funny part about it. Whereas the company plans to designate a purchaser for the property, the purchaser, who will construct approximately 1 million square feet of space at the property, together with parking facilities and other improvements located thereon. Hereinafter, the lease space is defined as the project area. So as you see, Kenny Fiola lied to the city council, lied to the people at the TIF board, and failed to represent facts. But he'll stand on the fact that, oh no, I handed these out to everybody so you knew. Amazon has no intent to buy this land. This is going to go to a local developer, most likely a politically connected, politically financing developer, who will get this land. And even though the TIF is with Amazon, the purchaser doesn't have to pay property taxes on it. Isn't that a wonderful thing, Chip? Don't you think that just works out fabulously?
Well, business as usual. Here in Fall River, we love to mislead people. It was, to get back to my buddy Rob yesterday, this is a patent. And I don't fault Rob Mellion for doing that. As you said, it's his job.
That's right.
He's the advocate for the Chamber of Commerce, so it's his job to advocate. But what bothers me is the city council sitting there, nodding their heads and like they're mesmerized by this. It's like, oh yes, we have to do this. And then you have, then somebody asks a question is, well, how does our business rate compare to Taunton? Well, I think Taunton's higher. It's 1.71 as opposed to 1.69. And then she corrected him and said, no, I believe Taunton actually went up on their business. And Taunton has more businesses than Fall River. That's the whole thing. We get nothing but mixed messages and half-truths and lies. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon's a warehouse. That's why it's coming here. It's a building.
That's right.
It's not really a business per se. Okay? It's a business in the strictest sense. But ironically enough, they don't even remember what they say in front of the city council. They went on this tirade about how small businesses are the backbone of a community like Fall River. Yet everybody talks about Amazon like, okay, we got Amazon, we're going to bring in all these other small businesses. Well, small businesses operate on a very low profit margin. This is why we don't have a lot of small businesses and we can't keep them. It's because, again, people don't have the money. And when you mislead the public like this, it's either because you don't understand what your job is as a counselor, or you're doing it intentionally. It really, really bothers me when I see this stuff, and especially with the love-in. And as a matter of fact, if you watch the council meeting, I went on right at the end of it, and I reminded them, because they talked about raising taxes and how we increased revenue. Yeah, we increased revenue by raising taxes and fees. They imply that we did this by some magical thing, or we did all these great things for Fall River, that we're getting more money. No, we're stealing it from the healthcare system. We're stealing it from the taxpayers. Yeah, we're getting more income because we keep burdening the people. Why do we have to, this impression that they give that, oh, we have to market, we have to do this, we have to do that. If you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. And the fact is that this city is economically depressed. And as I said yesterday, they begin to talk about numbers, and they talk about all these buzzwords like marketing, and businesses are going to come. We got Amazon. Amazon's a damn warehouse. Wake up.
But you know what? We don't have Amazon yet, and this is the big problem. And as you know, Chip, I've been called out everything under the sun, and because I ask questions, because it's illegal to ask questions in Fall River, because you might get to the truth. And let's look at some of these businesses that the Fall River Office of Economic Destruction has brought to Fall River. Walmart moved from the Harbor Mall, where it was quite happy, to a new location. Do you know why? Because Kenny Fiola gave a huge tip to Walmart and Sam's Club. Huge, absolutely huge. And the developer owned the land until recently. Do you know who the developer was? That was First Bristol Properties, otherwise known as Boo Boo Karam. Okay, so he got a great benefit out of buying that Quaker fabric. Do I deny anyone from making money, making millions of dollars? No. Okay, but on the backs of the Fall River taxpayer, I have to say, I don't agree with it. They said, oh, Walmart is the next, big job creator, Well, guess what? The Fall River Walmart store is the highest priced Walmart store in the region. The region, not the state, the region. And the Sam's Club store is also the highest priced store in the region. Do you know why? Because for 10 miles around their stores, there is no competition. Therefore, it is Sam's Club and Walmart policy to sell their product at the highest retail price they consider without damaging their reputation for low product prices. And if you go to Seekonk or to Dartmouth and look at the Walmart stores there or the Sam's Club in Seekonk, you can find up to a 10 to 15% difference in the prices. And the funny part is Sam's Club in Fall River is now looking at considering closing because they can't make a dime. And I'm on the phone with them all the time as well. So it's interesting to see how this actually works out for Fall River. So when that closes, or if it closes, is Kenny going to say, well, I messed up? No, he's going to say, well, I created X number of jobs, because there's no accountability. And when you start looking at the campaign finance reports for Carol Fiola, you see how all of these things pan out. And I'm telling you right now, whoever the developer is for that land in the biopark, I will put dollars to donuts on it that developer has given money to the Carol Fiola campaign in successive years, or is continuing to support Carol Fiola, because the two of them are connected like Mutt and Jeff.
Well,
amazing.
Well, obviously, we get back to something that's like really fundamental, basic economics. It's, the price is based on supply and demand, and also on what the market can bear. Well, the fact is, if you're the only game in town, which Walmart is in Fall River, because let's face it, who's going to compete with Walmart and Fall River? We don't have that type of income structure. So people are going to have to go to Walmart. They can't afford a $50 polo shirt from Macy's or something like that. They have to get clothes at a fairly low rate. And even though that rate is higher, they have to pay it here because it's the only place they can really shop. This is one of the reasons that we're one of the few places that still have Kmart. Why is Kmart there? It's a lower end store that deals in cheaper products. You know, people can't afford it in the city, and that's what gets me. You know, they continue to try to sell the elevation of this city by trying to think that we're gonna attract these things while totally ignoring the demographic we're dealing with in this community. The fact is that we have to raise the people in this city. We have to give them more money to spend. And you don't do that by driving more and more people out of the community with ever-increasing taxes and building more quote-unquote affordable housing and bringing in more people without a lot of discretionary cash. Milton Friedman, who I opened with yesterday, a very noted economist, once said the best way to stimulate an economy is to reduce taxes. Put more money in the people's pockets and they'll spend it. You know, if you have a millionaire, he can only buy a certain amount. He's one individual or one family. When you give 5,000 families a pay raise, you have 5,000 customers. So even if they don't spend as much in one shot, they will continue to spend money. And it's proven. Statistically, if you look at the communities in this state, as I said, the number one and number two communities that are close to our size that have the most businesses are the two communities that have the number one and number two highest per household income and the least amount of people living below the poverty level.
But
and if you look at the bottom, you have Lawrence and Fall River. So, I mean, we've got all these geniuses, all these economic geniuses that can't figure out a really simple thing. It doesn't matter how much supply you have and how much demand you have, because the demand is something that's predicated on something else. Money. It doesn't matter how much you want something. If you can't afford it, you can't buy it. Maybe I'd like to have a Lamborghini, but I can't, okay? So, I mean, it's just and then to watch the city council, basically, it was almost, I was waiting for them to all stand up and begin to sing with Melian, and everybody hold hands and start singing Kumbaya. And then we're gonna have our obsequious sycophants like Roger the Dodger, who comments now, "Hey Raj, how you doing, you Republican and you closet Republican? You know, I remember working with you, you know, when you were raising money for Scott Brown and pretending you were a Democrat." So these are the kind of people that are always behind the scenes, obsequious lackeys who are always in politically, and it's the same old, same old. The same people make all the money, and the people of Fall River pay higher taxes and get no jobs.
But you know, Chip, the thing that gets me is that our city council, all 9 of them, they all voted for the TIF. They all said, "Yep, we're gonna get this TIF," because they quote unquote were put in a place where they were between a rock and a hard place. If they voted for it, they were crucified. If they didn't vote for it, they were crucified. And they use the argument of jobs, jobs, jobs. They keep standing on this jobs, 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 but they're not being produced. And when they are produced, we lose just as many. The bigger problem that I have, and this is, you know, the biggest problem I have, is that no matter what spewing line of bull comes out of the Office of Economic Destruction, okay, out of the 6th floor offices, or from the city council, it's always the same, and they're all lockstep with each other. They create a situation where you and I are the naysayers, we're the negative people, and we present these facts. Let's look at a fact. Last Thursday, on the TIF vote, 2 minutes, 11 seconds for a meeting. No citizen was given the opportunity to say one word. They passed it, they adjourned, they tabled everything else, and they left the room. And they ran out of there like their pants were on fire. You have to admit that, Chip. Okay? Then, they had the meeting yesterday, and they're called out on several issues, and again, they sit there, and it's like talking to a wall because you know they're not listening to you. And they do again, fall in lockstep with what they've always done because they're afraid of their jobs. Now, they did not take one word of citizens' input. You were not able to have the ability to speak because you don't have the right to. And this came from a city councilor. This came from Councilor Pat Casey. You don't have the right to say anything. But let me tell you something. Freetown has their meeting tonight. Wednesday night, they're having it. And guess what? The TIF hasn't been passed because the citizens have to be heard on what it has to say. Now, they may say they want it. They may say they don't want it. It doesn't matter. How come those citizens aren't being told that they're naysayers? How come those citizens aren't being told, you can't do this, you're against jobs? We're not against jobs. Nobody was against jobs. We are against deals like this, where politically connected developers are going to get land dirt cheap, okay, and not have to pay a dime in taxes. But you, as the property owner in Fall River, have to suck it up and pay more in taxes. I'm telling you, Chip, it just
way
gets
to
me
go,
going.
CJ.
It just gets me going.
Yeah, right. And, well, you know what it's called? It's called political amnesia. And it seems like all our councilors always have political amnesia. They take one position, they flip, and then Melian gets in there and they're all singing, oh, yeah, jobs, jobs. And they're always backed into a corner. They got an excuse. You're right. Nobody opposed jobs. But the fact is, not one councilor. That meeting lasted 2 minutes and 11 seconds, I believe. That may have been the fastest city council meeting in recorded history. The fact is, not one of them said, listen, I'm voting for this because we need every job in Fall River, but I'm voting for this under duress. I'm voting for this because, but it could have been done better. You could have at least said that, because it's all baloney, because they don't, they call us naysayers. I'm not saying, I'm not a naysayer. I can read. If Kenny Fiola and the Office of Economic Development and the Chamber of Commerce and the marketing strategies and all the people they hire to market the city successful, why are we always near the top in unemployment? It goes to show one simple fact. Kenny says he creates 500 jobs, and then we lose 700 jobs. And all he talks about, and all the council talks about, is the jobs we create. But look at the statistics. And it's easy to track that. When has Fall River been even near the middle in unemployment in his state?
We haven't.
Okay? So, Kenny, you're full of crap, and the city council buys your crap, or they are co-conspirators. And we have somebody that's a candidate for mayor who's now said, I will raise the residential tax rate to its maximum. I didn't hear any complaints about, we got to streamline government, we got to try to save money, we got to try to earmark money toward the fire department or the police department or essential services. All I heard was, I'm supporting reducing business taxes, and I'm in favor of increasing residential taxes. Again.
That surprised you?
And this, well, no, it doesn't. But when they say they represent you or they're even paying attention, their actions speak far more than their words. Because yesterday, it was, again, nothing more than a dog and pony show.
It's always a dog and pony show, Chip. And, that's the scary part about it. And, the time flies by so fast because I wanted to address the fact that a woman from the Bank Street Neighborhood Association said that she'd kill anybody who said anything about the chief. I didn't see Joe Camara get her arrested. I wonder why. Hey, thanks for watching Spindle City Straight Talk. We'll bring you some more news later on. Have a great night.